Okay, hi guys. Sorry for not being there today. Totally not feeling well. So I want you to take a couple of minutes and do these questions. What are the four differences between plant and animal cells? What is the function of the nucleus? And what is the function of the cell membrane? I will do them in your notebook. I will check them when I see you on Monday. The sub, if they haven't told you yet, you do have a quiz on Tuesday over what you're learning today and what you've learned the rest of this week for Unit 2. So pause this now so you can answer those questions because I'm going to move on. Again, I'll be checking these answers. So on your notes, you should have received guided notes from the sub. If you do not, ask for them, but you should be filling this out. So ATP is adenosine triphosphate. It is a energy thing. In chloroplast, ATP production is a result of the absorption of light. In mitochondria, the production is due to aerobic respiration. So there are two different formats that are happening here. Either way, the ATP is a molecule only used for energy transfers, and it's described as a universal energy currency of the cell. It is not a form of energy. It is instead the energy released when ATP is broken apart. So when ATP is broken apart, it becomes a completely different molecule. So all cells are extremely small, have a few key structures. They're enclosed in a membrane, they're filled with cytoplasm, and they have genetic material called DNA. So here, if I had my mouse, for some odd reason I don't have a mouse, you can see the cell membrane and the cytoplasm. Now there are two types of cells. There are something we call the eukaryotic cells, and there's something we call the prokaryotic cells, and we're going to differentiate them today. So the eukaryotic cells has a nucleus, nucleolus, DNA, plasma membrane, and organelles. So U means true, so it's a true nucleus. It's usually found in animal, plants, and other multicellular organisms. It contains a nucleus, which holds the DNA and controls the cell. It also contains membrane-bound organelles, which allow different parts of the cell to do different things. So again, eukaryotes, there's a nucleus, whole DNA. They're typically larger and more complex. Plants, animal cells are the best example of those. Now, prokaryotes. They just have DNA, plasma membrane, and a cell wall. Pro means before. It's usually found in bacteria or other unicellular organisms. They do not contain a nucleus or any other membrane-bound organelles. So if you compare it to eukaryotic cells, everything tends to be bound. So it's like mini rooms inside a cell. This one, everything's just basically free-floating. DNA floats around the cytoplasm. It is much smaller and simpler than eukaryotic cells. So here's a prokaryotic cell. Again, it's just a jumble of DNA, no real nucleus. It's small and simple. An example is a bacteria cell. Some interesting facts. About 95% of your cells in your body are prokaryotic. So, what part of your body do you think holds the most bacteria? The answer is your stomach, by the way. Prokaryotic single-celled organisms were the earliest and most primitive forms of life on Earth, and 300 billion new cells are produced every day. 300 million old cells die every minute. So think about that math. Also, there are about 1 trillion bacteria on each of your feet, which is disgusting. I can't click this video. I would like you to watch this video. www.brainpop.com/science/diversity of life/bacteria. So, have fun. So, the similarities between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells: both have ribosomes, both have cytoplasms, both have a cell membrane, and both have DNA. The differences: prokaryotics don't have a nucleus, but they still have DNA. The first cells on Earth were bacteria cells, prokaryotic cells, and they're the smallest type of cell. Eukaryotics have a nucleus, DNA inside. The second cell type on Earth, animals and plant cells, and then they're larger than prokaryotes. So I want you to ask yourself in the next following images, does the cell have a nucleus? Does the cell have organelles? And to classify them, does this organism have multiple cells or just one? So an example, a mysterious new organism is discovered to have the following characteristics and looks like this. Single-celled, green in color, genetic information flowing freely. Does it have a nucleus? No. Does it have organelles? No. Does it have multiple cells? No. So it's obviously a prokaryote. This one has multiple cells, different specialized parts inside the membrane, genetic information contained in a nucleus compartment. Is it eukaryotic or prokaryotic? The answer should be, the answer is eukaryotic. So you find a mysterious new organism that looks like this and resembles a bacteria. What do you think it's going to be? Hopefully you guess prokaryotic. This one, it's basically the same as before, so you should guess prokaryotic. And this one, eukaryotic. Good job if you said it with me. If not, I'm just talking to myself. So you should have some sympathy for the life of bacteria. You have 0.00 times as much DNA as a eukaryotic cell. You live in a medium which has a viscosity about equal to asphalt. You have a wonderful motor for swimming, but you can only go in two directions and at one speed. So you're either going one direction at 30 miles per hour, or if you're reversing it, you're like flipping and turning. It's really uncomfortable and weird. When you learn, you divide every 20 minutes, so you have to restart your education. And you can have sex. Males possess this sexual apparatus for transferring genetic information, but it's awkward when you're going 30 miles per hour, and so it's kind of weird to find each other. And funniness. If you're a male, nature gives you a severe problem. Every time you mate with a female, she turns into a male, and in bacteria, maleness is basically like an STI. A fairly high frequency spontaneous mutations cause you to turn to a female. Eukaryotics have enslaved some of your brethren to use as energy generating mitochondria and chloroplasts. They're also using a tool and massive effort to understand genetics. So basically we're the eukaryotes. You have spent 3.5 billion years practicing chemical warfare. Humans thought the antibiotics would end infectious diseases, but the overuse of drugs has resulted in the selection of drug-resistant bacteria. Basically, the humans think this is era, but really it's the age of bacteria. Your last thing is a virus. Viruses have a protein capsid, a protein coat. Viruses are parasitic because they only reproduce by infecting and taking over cells. And the viral DNA or RNA takes over proteins, synthesizing to make new proteins. And that's my last slide. So I'm going to go back. Oh, nope. Still there. So you have a couple of not homework. I want you to, I'm going to make a new slide as I talk so that you know what I'm talking about. Okay, can I make this go away? Awesome. So, what you are to do, hopefully Sub told you, if not, I'm going to tell you. Do the Venn diagram. I will check it on Monday. Do the back page of your notes. Again, I'll check that on Monday. There, you should have received homework. Work on your homework. If you finish it in class, yay. If not, it becomes homework. And you also, by the way, the answer key for Tuesday's homework is on my Weebly. So if you want to check your answers, go ahead and do so. Check answer key. And also do corrections for your, clearly I'm not feeling well, quiz. So you have a lot of stuff to do. Take these notes. If some of this stuff didn't make sense to you, you're more than welcome to grab a book, read it. I will be back on Monday. I will check over this. So it all better be 100% perfect. Just saying. Okay. Bye, kids.